Hello, good evening, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast live, guys. Just with me tonight. Victoria is sunning herself on holiday with her family somewhere. I can't remember where it is now. It's on Instagram anyway. If you haven't checked her out on Instagram, Victoria's Secret 23, go and check it out, and you'll see all her holiday photographs, her lives, etc., etc. She's loving life out there tonight. Also, tonight we crossed 2,800 subscribers. So thank you, everyone, for your phenomenal support to this point. Absolutely amazing. We are obviously well on track now for our target of 3K subs by the end of August. And we'd love to be at 5K subs by next summer. Victoria and I have got an exciting plan for next summer in June, July time, if we manage to break the 5K sub mark. So look out for that. And if you haven't yet hit the sub, please hit that sub, ring that notification bell, because it's not just podcasts, guys. It's not just these live podcasts you get. You know what else you get? Daily Rangers content, Rangers updates, Rangers transfer rumors, Rangers speculation, live streams during the season. First game on Saturday. Be with me, 5:15. I think I'm starting at 5. Live streaming, Rangers v Kilmarnock. Come and check it out. Right, guys. Let's have a quick look at the live chat before we get going tonight. I'm sure we've got some great comments, questions. Now, I've got an agenda to run through tonight, but look, I want your thoughts, your comments, your questions, and I'll talk about your thoughts, your comments, your questions. As I said in the live chat, I haven't got a guest tonight. Wasn't able to get one, but if you are my guests tonight, you are the guys who are going to ask the questions, offer the opinions, and we'll share and talk your opinions through. So my good buddy from South Wales, Nicholas Moore, says, good evening, everyone from the South Wales Loyal. Fantastic. The Ibrox noise, love that. BB has been absolutely awful, needs to be sold. Guy isn't fit to wear the shirt, but he'll start versus Kilmarnock, ? What are your thoughts on that, guys? I agree. Borna Barisic, I'm going to touch on him in my negatives column in a minute. He has been absolute garbage, hasn't he? He's been absolutely awful, and we'll talk about him again very shortly. He probably will start against Kilmarnock, to be honest with you. Tripster says, do you think Lammers and Cantwell can play in the same team together? Tripster, I think that's a brilliant question. Absolutely fantastic question. And that is on the agenda for tonight. I am going to talk about the Lammers-Cantwell situation. So hang on for that. Tripster is coming up. Dave McDave says, evening, everyone. Love that name. Quality name, that is. Tripster says, as Cantwell has been quiet since Lammers joined, he has, hasn't he? Very quiet. Dave McDave says, Tripster Beale wants to play with more than 110, so he must want to play both. Agreed on that front. Nicholas Moore says in the live chat, there have been more positives than negatives in preseason games. The new signings are looking good, especially Lammers. Yeah, guys, let me know in the live chat, who is looking good for you? Who are the preseason guys who've looked good, the new signings? The brilliantly named Ali McMoist. Makes me laugh every time I read that name. Evening, everyone. Hello, hello. Tripster says, I know, Davey, but they play so similar. Just think the balance isn't there with two on the pitch. Good point, Tripster. We need to find a way to use all this attacking talent this season, but the defense is absolutely awful, says Ali McMoist. Snecky Bear, hope they all got all the niggles out in pre-season and are ready to start to kick some. And yep, definitely. That's my comment from earlier. Sorry about that. Defense is worry definitely. Tripster says diagonal ball is pumping us rotten. And I'm going to talk about that as well very shortly. We've got Snecky Bear about being our guest. Thank you very much. Jamie Lawson, evening, Owen. First time I've managed to catch live. I'm usually naked catch-up man. Thank you very much, Jamie, for joining us tonight. Absolutely superb. Vlogging Vic Victoria is tuning in. Big plans next summer for this channel. If we get to 5K, Vic, if we get to 5K. How's your holiday, Victoria? Let everyone know where you are. Get the third top on, Owen. Yeah, the third top's over my shoulder over there. Second top is there. First top here. And then there's a whole host of other Rangers tops and jackets and 3/4 zips on there. Spent far too much money this summer on Rangers gear. Michael Beale loves him. Don't know why. I presume Snecky is referring to Borna Barisic. Evening all says RFC 72. Great to have you back in the live chat, buddy. No, he's been here, but Raskin, yeah, Raskin quality today. Davis is stealing a wage. He's not as good as everyone thinks. We're talking about Ben Davis, I presume, Tripster there. Ridvan over Borna Barisic, buzzing on Jose Cifuentes. Yep, absolutely. Can't wait. Crane Corso, beautiful dog there as well. Cannot wait for Cifuentes to arrive when he finally gets here. Obviously, now the rumours coming out of the club are that he will arrive midweek to secure and finalise his move, barring any last-minute disasters, subject obviously to international clearance. So highly doubtful he'll be available for the Killie game on Saturday. Jamie says Lammers is his shining light for pre-season, going to be unbelievable. Stephen Gillespie in the live chat says, evening troops, evening Stephen, how are we all? Good to have you on board. With the amount of signings, not everything is going to be perfect right away, but we have the quality and it will all come together. Prime time, that is a brilliant, brilliant point. You are spot on with that point. I think that's one thing we've got to kind of realize is the fact that we brought in 8, soon to be 9 new faces to this team. We've started to ship out players as well. You know, yes, I know there's only a couple of players left that have left, and obviously the 5 that left at the end of the season. And there are hopes that Glenn Kamara will move on, Scott Wright will move on, there's Fashion Sakala possibly on his way out. Let me know what you think about Fashion in the live chat. Would love to get your opinions on Fashion. But, you know, it's going to take time. It always takes time. You know, we've effectively got well, by the end of this transfer window, theoretically, we could have 11, 12, even possibly new names if you include Cantwell and Raskin in this team. And it takes time to gel a team. You know, it's been a pre-season. It's been one pre-season, but these guys have arrived throughout this pre-season period, haven't they? You know, Danilo been the most recent of arrivals. Snecky Bear says, don't have my size. Been out since day 2. Hope they've got the big sizes back in shortly. You're talking about the third top there. Blue Nose John, the live chat. Good evening, Owen. Hope you and all the teddy bears in the chat are well. We are good, John. Thank you for asking. Don't want Sakala to go, says Tripster. We are going to talk about him as well. George, all the way from Colne in Lancashire, where my dad was born, even though he insists he's a Yorkshireman because he lived in Wakefield. Good to have you on board. I'm good, buddy. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep on top of all this live chat stuff. It's very hard. Trying Scotsman. Lammers is a loud up light, great fast feet, wee burst of pace, best player of pre-season so far. Victoria, I heard they wanted Fashion to leave. I'm iffy that one because he's good when he's good, but when he's not good, he's not. Lol. Agreed, Victoria. Derek Bradford says, think Cifuentes will be the missing link to bring the team together. Just need to shore up the defense. Scott05 says, if I think Davis does get a hard time, maybe he can cut out mistakes and improve. Just like the team as a whole, patience is required. Alexander, hi Glasgow Rangers Nation, everyone. Hi Alexander. Stephen Gillespie says the teams we played in pre-season are all better than Killie. We'll crush them 4-0 minimum. Kane Corso, keep Fashion. He always gives 100%. Fashion cost us nothing. He's good backup. Okay, if we have a good offer, we'll take it. Matondo, on the other hand, 40k for him allegedly. Yeah, not great, is it? I'm a quandary with Fashion. He would be good after come off the bench, but we also need funds coming in. And we've got a suggestion of a team here from William O1, Butland, Sterling, Suter, Davis, Ridvan at the back, Jack Raskin and Dowell, Lammers, Desses and Danilo. Controversially, no Todd Cantwell there. Controversial, William. Controversial. And last comment for a moment. Alexander Cameron says we need to find a balance between midfield, defense, attack, and midfield. Once we find it, we will be good. Yep, agreed. Okay, guys. So pre-season, what do we think of pre-season so far? So the pre-season is now over. We build up towards the game, and this is our pre-season. Let's just reflect on this pre-season for a moment. Obviously, a 2-1 defeat to Rangers, a 2-1 victory over Hamburg, a 3-1 defeat to Olympiacos, and a 2-2 draw with Hoffenheim. So not too bad against the Germans, not great against the other teams. Now, let's just kind of place this in a little bit of context, shall we? Like I said, we're going to talk about our trips, so we will get there. Agree, William. Tav will play, though, says Scott05. Newcastle were a very, very good team. As much as it pains me to say it, Newcastle were a very, very good team. They kept possession of the ball very well. They gave us a bit of a run around at times. Yes, we did create chances. And look, we lost to the better team. And they're the sort of team we're going to come against in the Premier League, in the Champions League. But yeah, at least we scored in every match. True, absolutely, Snecky Bear. Hamburg 2-1, a much changed team. Fashion Sakala with 1 goal, and Tav with that famous 3-word saying, penalty to Rangers. Rangers then obviously 3-1 against Olympiacos, 2-2 against Hoffenheim on Saturday. So that's our pre-season as it's gone. So played 4, won 1, lost 2, drawn 1, scored 6, conceded 8. So let's kind of take that and let's run with that. Let's talk about the positives of pre-season. Oh, actually, just a quick aside for a moment. Penalty to Rangers. Look, we know that is a saying that winds up winds up the opposition. We love that, don't we? Penalty to Rangers, winds up. That lot across the city hate to hear those three words. Penalty to Rangers. Anyway, did you know that today in Canada, a horse ran in a race? It finished second in the race, and the horse was called Penalty to Rangers, apparently, allegedly. There was a horse called Penalty to Rangers that finished second in a race today. Should have put a fiver on each way. Alexander says it's Monday and I'm already buzzing for the weekend. Me too, Alexander. Can't wait. I'm going to get through a week's worth of work. William says, I think he will play Tav and Seamer as well as Scott, even though I don't want that. Point. Attack this league. Cantwell, Raskin, Dowell, Lammers, Danilo, Dessers. Sort the defence, ruin the rest. A bit of rhyme in there, trying Scotsman. If Sterling is fit, he has picked himself a left back slot on Saturday. That's a great point, John. You know, that's something else. Let's just talk about that point for a minute. Let's tick that off my list. Right, come on, guys. Yes, Alexander, there was a horse called that in Canada, Penalty to Rangers. Yeah, it's actually it's in the article in the Daily Record today. If Sterling's fit, he's picked himself for the left back slot on Saturday. Now, what do we think about Dujon Sterling? Now, Dujon Sterling is look, I've heard Dujon interviewed a few times now. I love Dujon Sterling. I think the way he talks, he's very brash, he's very confident. And he also talks about one thing that our fullbacks don't seem to understand. He's there to defend. He's there to defend. Look, I know Tav scores penalties. I know he scores free kicks. I know he gets assists. I know Borna Barisic gets assists. I know Ridvan gets assists to some degree as well. But as someone who used to play fullback, obviously not to the level of those two guys, you're there to defend. First and foremost, you are there to defend and to keep it tight at the back. Now, if you can't defend, if you can't cut out crosses, if you can't tackle, if you're not getting back and taking out your winger, then you're not really doing your job. Yes, you may create a couple of chances at the other end, or you may score a penalty, but if you haven't stopped them from crossing the ball in, then, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to be asking yourself, are you suited to that job? Now, for me, Sterling looks like a proper defender. Now, the other thing as well is he's physically big. I think he's over 6 foot. He's got the physicality there. There was a point I made earlier in the live chat, wasn't there, about the fact we're getting pumped on that diagonal ball. Teams, you know, Olympiacos, Hamburg to a lesser extent, Hoffenheim as well. All of them seem to now notice that, you know what, put it in over top of Rangers fullbacks and you'll cause all sorts of problems. And that's happened in a few games now. Now, what's worrying me, look, it really doesn't worry me about... apparently Stephen put a bet on that horse. Tidy wee profit. Well done, Stephen. Jamie Lawson, penalty to Rangers equals Timplosion. Tav can't keep Weens out of a close, says Tip Tripster. Sterling is solid. What a great tackler he is. And that's one of his things. He's a great tackler. He's there to tackle. That's what his job is. Now, one thing I need to say about this, look, I don't really want to talk on that negative straight away because I want to try and look at the positives of the performance. But look, one of the big negatives has to be the defense. The defense has been appalling this preseason. Comic cuts at times, absolute comic cuts. You know, against Olympiacos, all three of those goals were entirely avoidable for me. You could have avoided all three of those goals quite easily. We gave them 3 goals, the same way we gave Celtic goals last season. So at the end of the day, that's something that is worrying. The defense is not great. You look at the centre backs. We've got a lot of centre backs at the club. We've got Suter, we've got Davis, we've got Goldson, who's out injured. I think we missed massively. And we'll talk about Connor in a minute. We've got Yefko, we've got Leon King. We've got a lot of central defenders. Lundstrom can even play in there, but not a lot of quality in depth. I think Suter and Goldson are our strongest defenders. Don't get me wrong. I think they both have their weaknesses and their problems, but who doesn't? And you know, if they were defenders who didn't make mistakes, they'd be playing for some of the top clubs around Europe and be worth 80, 90 million, and we wouldn't be able to afford them at the end of the day. So the defense for me has been appalling this preseason, really, really bad. But we'll get back to that in a moment. Let's get a few of more of your comments. I think 3 at the back is a good platform to let the wing backs forward, because otherwise I think they will get exposed. We don't have a midfield like under Gerrard, which was the platform for them. Alexander, that's a good point. Maybe that's something Michael Beale is thinking of using in Europe. Maybe he's thinking about, using 3 at the back in Europe against some of those bigger, stronger teams than us. Who knows? We'll obviously see when we come to play Servette and Genk. Seaman needs time also. Great pace. Hopefully we'll get better. Scott, he's got to. He's really our only out-and-out winger at the moment. Even horse owners are Rangers fans, says Trying Scotsman. Absolutely. Put Tav on the wing and Sterling at right back, says Tripster 2011. Good shout. That is a good point. I've seen that mentioned a few times. Because we have too many number 10s, how are we going to fit them all in? We will get to that shortly. It is a problem, isn't it? I mean, we've got what Danilo can play as a 10, Lammers can play as a 10, Cantwell can play as a 10, Hadji can play as a 10, Lawrence can play as a 10. There is an awful lot of number 10s there. And look, one of the things you've got to say is Michael Beale's talked about wanting 2 10s, hasn't he? He's talked about wanting to play with 2 10s. Now, it's up to him to try and work a system where that is going to work. And it maybe has initial teething problems. I think the issue is with system. Look, pre-season, we haven't had a set system. We've experimented here, there, and everywhere, haven't we, with a system? We've kind of played 4-2-2, 4-2-2-2, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1. We've tried in multiple formations. I think Beale has very much used pre-season as an experimentation time. I think the proof in the pudding will be on Saturday to see how he lines up, where he plays players, and how he uses them. And we may see, Lammers, Cantwell both playing. It's how he uses them on Saturday. But it's an interesting question, and we'll talk about it properly in a moment. Cifuentes comes straight into the team. I would also play Sterling, and I think the defence will be better, says Derek Bradford. Good point. Brandon Williams, 1 year left on his deal at Man United. Want rid of him. For a reasonable fee, would you get rid of Yilmaz and Borna for him? He's a good defender, RFC 72. If a reasonable fee, I would definitely get rid of Borna. Perhaps keep Ridvan as a backup, maybe. Being greedy slightly there. I was in Hoffenheim and the performances of both Tavernier and Ridvan were concerning. Yeah, both of them were very, very poor on Saturday, I felt. Tavernier was caught out a number of times with that diagonal ball. Ridvan was to blame for at least one of the goals. His defence didn't look great. But is that partly down to the fact that, not throwing him under the bus, not criticising him at all? But Yefko, for me, he's a good young lad. He's coming through. But we've got to remember that Yefko, this is his first season of proper men's football. He's played B team, he's played under 21, and that was a makeshift central defence on Saturday, wasn't it? Leon Balogun went off with cramp, went off injured. Yefko went off in the end, and by the time we finished the game, we had central midfielders playing at centre back. So, look, at the end of the day, I think Saturday you've got to kind of write off Ridvan's performance a little bit and give him a wee run in the team come Saturday. RFC 72 says, plus Sterling needs to play over Tav. There's enough creativity in the team now. We don't need Tav's numbers so desperately. That's a really good point now. With the players we've signed, with the quality we've got, Dowell, Dessers, Raskin, Lammers, Danilo, Cantwell, Seema. We've got a lot of creative talent there. So, yeah, theoretically, do we need the assists from Tav? Do we need the penalties from Tav? Couldn't someone else like Danilo not take penalties or Cantwell not take penalties? That's a good shout from RFC 72. William O1 says, Beale will play Butland, Tav, Suter, Davis, Ridvan, Raskin, Cantwell, Dowell, Lammers, Seema, and Sakala. There's one out of left field. I don't think he'll play Sakala, William, if I'm being honest. I think he will play Dessers up front. He's invested too much money in him to give up on him now. Absolutely. Young lad was unlucky, to be fair. Looks like a player. That's Yefko, I suppose Tripster was talking about there. Suter is excellent. Yeah, he's one of my positives, which I'm going to get to shortly. My two huge concerns are a lack of backup in defence and the fact we have not seen nothing special in the final third. Problems scoring from open play and Tav's corners. Yeah, absolutely, David. The open play, not taking our chances, pass too much. You shoot, no, I'll shoot, no, we shoot, no, he shoots, and not taking out. Danilo, hopefully, is something that's going to solve that problem. Danilo is someone who likes to take a shot. He's not afraid to take a shot on. If you go back and watch some of the pre-season Feyenoord things, the goal he scored against Hoffenheim was actually a 25-30 yarder where he just got it and smashed it. Danilo's not afraid to have a blast, typical Brazilian player. So hopefully he will inspire the others to do that. Raskin had a blast against Olympiacos. I thought that was good. So yeah, definitely not. Definitely. I think that will be something we can remedy, hopefully. We're going to blow teams away this season. Defense won't matter. Another CB with experience, and we're golden, says Stephen Gillespie. Agree 100%, Stephen, with you. He'll play Sakala. Yeah, we've got too many number 10s. I think he probably will start Sakala. I honestly don't think he will. I think Sakala's done. I honestly think see Sakala on his way out. Rotation, it's a long season. I think we will see a lot of rotation this season with the depth of squad. And that's something that Michael Beale alluded to, didn't he? He said about wanting a small squad of 24, 25. So he said that players feel close to the first team. Again, I think that's definitely something that's going to happen. Tripster says, if we can't beat Killy away, we're going to lose the league. It's a fact. pretty much. Yeah, I think that's a definite. It's a must-win, isn't it? It's as hard as Raskin is an amazing player, but he can't fall back to centre back to allow the centre pairing to split into a 3 when our full backs push up. Jamie Lawson, brilliant point. He's not Ryan Jack. He's not John Lundstrom. We can't do that. Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about another massive positive. I will get to your comments in more of your comments shortly. Sam Lammers, absolute massive positive for me. Look, I am not going to pretend that I wasn't questioning the signing of Sam Lammers when he was signed. He was signed as a forward. He was signed to score goals, theoretically. But look, I've watched him now, and I don't honestly think that his past record was his fault. I think if you look at his past record, you look at the way he played, he was always playing on a kind of I don't know, a Let List Hobo. Those of you remember, if you remember the program Let List Hobo, where the dog would go and help people and then clear off again. Well, that's kind of what Sam Lammers had done, didn't he? He went from Atlanta and he went to Empoli on loan, like Let List Hobo, tried to help them and then ran back to Atlanta, then ran to Sampdoria, tried to help them, and they didn't use him properly. They used him as a target man and used him to run the channels, which is not his game. And he didn't look great. And look, when we signed him, there's a lot of fans saying, "Oh, great, centre forward didn't score goals." But I think we've all seen that pre-season, he's now here. He's here permanently. He's here. He's somewhere he's wanted. He's somewhere that he is, that he's needed, and he's really ran the game for us. He's both footed, he's technical, he's gifted, he can see passes, he's scored 2 goals in 4 games, and that's going to be brilliant for his confidence. I think Sam is very much a confidence player for me. So Sam Lammers is a massive positive. I think he's someone who's going to absolutely dominate this SPFL season, and I think he will run rings round Carthorse, Vickers and Starfelt, and they won't know what to do with him. I think they will really struggle to pick him up, and Callum McGregor will just try fouling him all the time. But you know what? I've got no worries that we will smash that lot when we come to play them very early in the season. My other massive positive as well from this preseason is John Suter. Some of you mentioned him in the live chat earlier. John Suter has been exceptional for me, absolutely exceptional. You know, he steps out from the back and he thrusts forward. He engages the opposition midfield and then plays the ball, draws players to and creates space by coming out with the ball. He tackles well. He reads the game well. To be honest with you, he's the only one of that back four who's come out of this preseason with any credit. I'd say a quarter of our back four has been good. 3/4 of our back four has been shockingly bad. And I think John Suter has emerged with a lot of credit. With Big Soapy, it's just a case now of keeping him fit, getting him ready for the new season. I think that's the big thing for me. Okay, let's get back to your comments, guys. Let's talk through some of your comments before I get on with some more of my positives. Scott05 says, is Sakala leaving, you think? I think if we can find a buyer for him, I think he is off. I think there's obviously an issue with Saudi. He doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, Fashion is a staunch Christian. He's very, believes in God, which is his right to. He is a staunch Christian guy, and he doesn't want to go somewhere where that seems to be forbidden to believe in another God. You know, I don't want to get particularly into the political side of Saudi Arabia or the religious side. That's not what I'm here. I'm here to talk about Rangers. I think if we get the money, we'll sell him. If we don't get the money, he stays. I think definitely. Sean Maxwell says, we do need a centre back. Really disappointed to read today that it looks like Austin Trusty is on his way to Sheffield United. Apparently 5 million fee been agreed between Arsenal and Sheffield United. That's very disappointing. He was the one, him and Charlie Cresswell are the two that I think are quality players. Jonathan Panzo, I was talking to some more Cov fans over the weekend and they don't rate him at all. They said he's a bomb scare. He's too rash. He dives in a lot. To me, he sounds like another Davis, Ben Davis 2.0. And do we need another Ben Davis? I don't think so. Derek Bradford says, Tav, Goldson, Suter, Ridvan, Cifuentes, Cantwell, Raskin, Lammers, Denier, and Seema. Derek's so confident he's not even going in with a goalkeeper. I think he's just missed Butland off there. Wouldn't start. That was Seema. I'd send him back. He's mince, says Tripster. And that is a criticism. Not sure, Scott, mate, if we get offered, not bad though. I think he'll end up, I think he'll leave as well. Sean says Cantwell is a must up this game. He is. He must up his game. Absolutely. I think Cantwell struggled with Sam Lammers coming in. I think, the problem is with Sam Lammers coming in, he's kind of had that place taken. And like I've mentioned, we need to find a way to use both of them. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen it yet. Adam Thornton of Heart and Hand did a brilliant video on the box midfield, on the tactics for it, 4-2-2-2. He talked about how 2 10s can work behind 2 strikers. because they strikers kind of split and the 10s drop in or they drop wide or one drops in and one drops out. It's very much a fluid system. And, he thinks that's something that Michael Beale might be trying to adopt with these players, because Cantwell and Lammers are clearly very intelligent footballers. So, is that a possibility? It possibly could be. So, yeah, I think that's a possible one there. Like I said, Seamer is someone who has had an awful lot of criticism, hasn't he, over the last few weeks. I think, again, he's another player that lacks a lot of confidence. He's come from Brighton. He had a pretty bad loan spell at Stoke. He had another loan spell somewhere else, which I can't remember where it was now. Didn't do too well there. I think he's lacking in confidence. He thought, I think, if we can get him somewhere close to that Slavia Prague form, if we can't, well, we just send him back in January. At the end of the day, what have we lost? Nothing, because he's not our player. And he doesn't play, well, who cares? Ridvan is the best left back in Scotland, in my opinion. Will go on to be a top player. Kane, I think with Ridvan, it's just a case of giving him time. He needs time. Ridvan's been unlucky, hasn't he? He's come in and he immediately gets that torn hamstring injury. He's out. He comes back. He gets injured again. He comes back. He hasn't had a solid run of games, and he's always had that doubt in his mind of, is it me? Is it Borna? Is it me? Is it Borna? For me, if you give Ridvan a run of games, if you give Ridvan the shirt and say, look, it's your shirt, next 10 games, go and prove yourself. Go and show us in Europe against that lot from across the city. Look, I've got no worries. Even Borna against Kilmarnock, against St Johnstone, against Ross County, not really worried about them, because they're going to sit 10 behind the ball. They're not going to attack. They might try and pump the ball long, but it ain't going to work, because Butland's going to read the game. Suter's going to read the game. They're not going to go after us. Europe is the thing, and that lot from across the city, and even the sheep from up north maybe, are going to have a go at us. But that's the only teams that are going to have a go at us. European teams and that lot from across the city, and possibly, I suppose, the Edinburgh teams, but that's it. And realistically, I'm not worried, but Ridvan does need a run of games, Kane, and I do think that he is someone who can come good. Let's have a look what we've got next. This is Jamie's comment. You could actually pick out a fault, Ridvan, for 3 goals if you're being picky. True, but I think the whole defence, Jamie, you could pick out a lot of faults. I'm being facetious here, but I get the feeling Michael wants to play 2-2-6. Yeah, all those forwards up front, mate. Definitely. I don't think Dessers will start because of the plastic pitch. He's still trying to get up to speed. That's a great point, William. Let's see Saturday what happens. Plastic pitches should be banned in the top flight. I think they are banned in England. So I agree with you, Trips. I don't think they should be allowed to have plastic pitches. At least be able to use our 5 subs. Yeah. And Alexander, I've got a little point on that. How nice is it to actually finally have some options in on the bench? Last year we were looking at the bench and going, oh, is that it? Is that all we've got to bring on? Matondo, half fit Hadji, maybe a bit of Adam Devine, maybe a bit of Lowry here and there. But now we've got some real options there. Look, if Danilo and Dessers start up front on Saturday, that gives us Roof to come on as well. It gives us Seamer to come on. It gives us a lot of options. And yeah, having those 5 subs will be fantastic. Scott 05, maybe Danilo and Seamer, as Dessers still finding fitness and plastic nonsense of a pitch. Could well be, maybe, Scott. Picking up on one of the point made earlier by Trips, I think it's by there. Must win. I'm gutted we're playing on that fake grass first. Absolutely. Best to get it out on the road, mate. Yeah. Plastic ball oscillates. It does a lot. I play on plastic pitches. They're awful to play on. The bounces so unpredictable. Lammers looks interested. Good few touches. He does, David. With our members, David Johnston. On Lammers, I can see him being an absolute unit, not something you've had for years. Yeah, absolutely, David. He looks like Brian Laudrup light is the point that a lot of people seem to be making in the live chat. And across a lot of podcasts and a lot of reporters I've listened to have likened him to Laudrup. I even heard someone compare him to Dennis Bergkamp the other day. Perhaps a bit of B-Tech Bergkamp, perhaps not in the same class as Dennis Bergkamp, but that sort of player, isn't he? Who remembers those days when Arsenal were dominating, when they had Thierry Henry up front and they had Lammers straight off? Danilo and Lammers, anybody? Could work. Danilo is the man with the pace and the speed, the Henry type. Henry was never really an out-and-out 9. Danilo is not really an out-and-out 9. Lammers is the 10. Is that our Bergkamp Henry? Who knows? Derek Bradford says, Lammers will link up play well as there's frighten defences. Absolutely. If Lammers can also help drag defenders out of position, it will help, almost like a false 9, number 10 type player, maybe press as well. Alexander, yeah, that's spot on. And that's what Adam was talking about, those 2 10s. If Cantwell and Lammers are 2 10s behind 2 strikers, the forwards, the central defenders will come to those 10s, leaving space for the forwards to get in around the edges. And that's something else that may well work. Can I say again, Sam Lammers is going to be massive. His control and turns have been a joy to watch. Did you see that one against Hamburg where he did the dummy on the Hamburg player and dummied the cameraman as well? Hilarious. Tripster says Suter and Goldson will be solid. Agreed, Tripster. Look, I personally haven't got a problem with Connor Goldson. I think Connor makes mistakes. Of course he makes mistakes. But like I said, if he didn't make mistakes, he'd be playing for Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or someone like that, wouldn't he? He organises well. He leads the team well. He plays good passes forward. He can tackle. And here's the stat. Look, we have conceded half as many goals and got more points with Connor Goldson in the team than when Connor Goldson is not in the team. So there's got to be some sort of link there, hasn't there, between Connor and the team, hasn't there? Doing well. Okay, another positive from pre-season before I get back to your comments is Kieran Dowell. I want to talk about a little bit about Kieran Dowell. Kieran Dowell is someone who's done very well for me. Kieran Dowell is a bit nasty. He's got a bit of an edge to him, hasn't he? He's got a bit of a good in there, stuck in there, a bit what we thought John Lundstrom was going to be, but with a bit more skill and a bit more talent and a bit more ability on the ball. And he's got a bit of a nasty streak, and he provides balance to the left side of midfield because he's left-footed. He provided nice balance. And one of the things that I thought he did very well is he covered, he got forward, he passed the ball well, he distributed it forward, nice and positive all the time from Kieran Dowell. Kieran Dowell looks a good player, and I think he's one that's been slightly overlooked with all the other arrivals. With the fact that he arrived so early in this window, I think that he has been quality for me this pre-season. The other positive I want to talk out of this is Raskin. I know Raskin wasn't great against Olympiacos, but Raskin for me, he's come back from that under-21 championship with a point to prove, hasn't he? He's come back and he wants to stomp his dominance over Scottish football and show that he is this future Belgian superstar. I mean, how many great players have they produced over recent years? Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, Eden Hazard, Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, Thibaut Courtois. They produced some outstanding footballers over the last few years, and I think Nicholas Raskin could well be the next. And I'm being honest with you, I honestly can't see Raskin being at Rangers much longer, because I think next summer, or even the summer after, we're going to have someone come and bid 20, 25 million for him. He really does look good. And I think if he is there dictating that midfield, been at the base against most of the teams, I think we might need to change it in Europe and against Celtic. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But Raskin for me has been a class act. Okay, let's get back to your comments, guys. Let's discuss some of your comments. Like I said, I have got an agenda to go over, but I want to talk to you as well. I want to talk to you guys, make this podcast a bit of your podcast as well as my podcast. Because let's face it, as we always say here on Glasgow Rangers Nation, we are by the fans, for the fans, and you are contributing tonight. Fantastic. I'm trying to keep up on top of all your comments. I've loads of comments still to get through. Let's try and let's do a run on comments now before we look at a couple of negatives and then the season ahead. Lundstrom and Barisic last year, the contracts, get upgrades. Brian Emerson could not agree more. John Lundstrom's been appalling, absolutely shocking. Against Olympiacos, he gave the ball away 3 times, nearly got himself sent off, did not look good at all. RFC 72 says, all the centre-backs are unreliable, all injury-prone, and Ben Davies is just a bottles 50-50s and is pretty poor in the air. For the fee he cost and wages he's on, it must be better. That is the worry, I suppose, RFC 72. You are right. There is an injury concern over a lot of our centre-halves, isn't there? Obviously, King went down pre-season. Suter's been out. Goldson didn't used to get injured, but seems to be now he's getting older, getting injured a little bit more. So it is a concern, and that's why I do feel we do need to sign another centre-back. I would love to get Charlie Cresswell as part of the Kamara deal going to Leeds. Say to them, look, give us 3 million plus Cresswell and Kamara's yours. Could be worth a shout for me. Look, Tripster says, Lundstrom is a walking red card. Reminds me of Morelos. You're right, Tripster. He came on against Olympiacos. Like I said, give the ball away 3 times. Nearly got himself sent off. Shocking. Stephen Gillespie, Cantwell will bang in a wee goal and he'll be golden. I think Cantwell will come good. I think he's just trying to settle into the team, find his role, find his place. I think, look, it's like I've said, and I think I said on my videos, and I've said, I think at the start of this pod as well, it's going to take time to get this team to gel, isn't it? You know, you've got 8, maybe 9 new faces, 10, 11 if you add in Raskin and Cantwell. It's actually a whole new team, and it's going to take time to get the team together, to bring these guys together. Danilo has hardly worked with his teammates. He kind of flew straight out to Germany, didn't he? So it's going to take time, isn't it, to kind of gel everyone together and get everyone playing as one. So Look, I think it'll take time, but I'm confident that Beale can get Cantwell and Lammers play together. Look, outstanding players can play together. Gaza and Laudrup played together, didn't they? Neymar and Messi played together. Look, I'm not saying that Lammers and Cantwell are in the same breath as Laudrup and Gaza or as Messi and Neymar. But, you know, you've got Messi and Mbappe as well played together. Great players find a way to play together. And Cantwell and Lammers are very skillful, very talented players. So hopefully they'll be able to find a way to work together. What have we got? CGM 55. Welcome on board, CGM. Another one of our regular contributors. Seema looks as bad as Sakala. Let that sink in. Good point. Alexander says it was unfortunate that Ridvan got injured against Aberdeen last season. I think we wouldn't have even had this debate had he been fit, which is what I was saying, Alexander. I do think that if Ridvan hadn't been out, then I think, you know, at the end of the day, I think he would have settled in. And I think he would be our nailed on left back. Like I said, it is his injuries. He has had a very broken Rangers career. Have to take Beale needs to get his finger out and get defenders in better than what we got this week. Yeah, absolutely. What else have we got? CGM says with Dow, it will be interesting to see where he plays when we get Cifuentes, if he plays. Good shout that is as well. You know, he could. How are we going to do that? Good point. Blue Nose says, Owen, are you concerned by Todd's lack of him playing left? There we go, a bit of a jip there. Let's get rid of this idea of him playing left wing. He ain't a left winger. We can't play him as a left winger. Norwich tried that, didn't work. So no, I am a little bit concerned. I'm just hopeful that once we get through this preseason and once we get this league campaign underway, Blue knows that we will get him back to where he is. They've all played an Astra at some point, so it shouldn't be a problem. William says 3-2-2-1-2 is the way to go with a new system for me. Butland, Sterling, Goldson, Suter, Cifuentes, Raskin, Dowell, Lawrence, Lammers, Dessers, Danilo, and everyone is fit. That sounds like a very attacking team and a very complicated team, William 01. Stuart Henderson in the live chat says, we need to replace Helander, though he was the best defender, which is what I was saying, Stephen. We do need a left-sided centre-back for me. I think that is a place we have not yet filled. We have a plastic pitch in the training ground, may help them. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, we've all played on plastic pitches, haven't we? We've all had a go on plastic pitches at some point in our not too long careers. Keep saying Lammers and Cantwell can't play together. They seem to want the same space. It is, but I think Tripster, you might be right at this moment in time, but I think it's a case of Beale working it out and then working it out together. And like I said to you, it's going to take time for these players to gel. This is the first time Lammers and Cantwell have played together. They haven't done it previously, so let's give them time. Ewan Minton, one of our members, says, hi, Owen and GRN. Posse, sorry, a bit late tonight. Blooming Wi-Fi playing up. Wi-Fi is a pain in the ass, mate. Evening, I hope you well, says CRS. I'm good, CRS. How are you, buddy? Barisic goes in for 50-50 shitless. If Beale can't see we've got problems, I would pull him off right away. I've seen that. Brian, I'd agree. Barisic is awful. I mean, he doesn't tackle. He doesn't cut out crosses. He gets to the halfway line, does a U-turn, turns back and passes it back now. To me, he's lost confidence. It's time for him to go. I don't want to see him play again. But you know what? I think he'll start on Saturday. I do think Barisic starts left back on Saturday. CGM 55 says, we don't have time drop points in the league. This early given total points needed to win the league will be fatal. We also have Europe next week. Genk have already written us off. CGM makes a great point here. Now, a couple of points to pick up here. You're right, CGM. We cannot afford to lose any of those games initially. We've got to keep up. Hit the ground running. Look, the way this league's weak. I'm not going to be funny, but this league's weak. You know, outside of Rangers and that lot from across the city, this league's weak. It could well come down to the odd drop point here and there and who wins the most all firm games as to who wins the league this season. And I think you could have a situation where both teams could finish on over 100 points this season. I think that could actually happen given how bad the rest of the league is. But yeah, I agree, CJ. We've got to hit the ground running. We can't afford to lose points. Owen, it will all come good. 56 incoming. Hopefully qualify for the Champions League. I'd love to be in the Champions League for the prestige and for the money, and then finish third and get in the Europa League. Hopefully Cresswell rumours are true. Hopefully Chris BC, 3 at the back would take some defensive pressure off wing backs. So I was saying, Chris, I could actually see us using 3 at the back in Europe. I really could, to kind of cover up the defensive weaknesses. That's a possible for me. What else have we got in the live chat here? Snecky Bear says, how many of the new guys can play multiple positions? Let's try them out. Well, Dowell can play left wing, right wing, central attacking midfield. Danilo can play right wing, left wing, 10-9. Sterling can play right back, left back, and theoretically a push centre back if he needs to. So yeah, agreed. You and Minton, we're going to be okay for Saturday. We'll get off to a great start against Killy. It's better to have a bad pre-season to help us improve and get us ready for the real games. You're right, Ewan, it is. And pre-season's just pre-season. You can lose all 4 pre-season games and still win the league. You can win all 4 pre-season games and get relegated. So by that, not that I'm saying the Rangers are ever going to get relegated, but you know what I mean by that one. Absolutely. Alexander agrees with CGM. We need to get a ground running if it means horses for courses. Absolutely. Do you think Michael Beale is trying to fool the opposition by not revealing his consistent style of play? There could be an element of that. Yeah, sow that seed of uncertainty, especially, to that lot from across the city. That could well be a possibility. But I think a lot of people can kind of tell how Rangers are going to play. They can tell who we are. They can tell what we're going to do. Keep possession of the ball, attack, score. That's just us, isn't it? All over. Curry, how you feeling, buddy? Are you at hospital yet? How you doing? I doubt we'll play this narrow in the league. Whole preseason, Beale has been using a system we never used, just a trial thing, I'm hoping. When I was saying at the start of the pod, Curry, I think that there is a case of us using a system where he's kind of experimenting, isn't he? He's kind of getting ready for the season, looking at what works best, what doesn't work, what will work, and just trying things out pre-season. I think, come Kilmarnock, we'll see the system we're going to use this season. I think we'll see a more consistent Rangers. Anything less than a good win at Killy will be devastating for confidence. Tripster, you are spot on with that comment. I would be very surprised and disappointed if Borna Barisic starts on Saturday. I would be not surprised if Sterling plays a lot at left back. CGM, good shout. Yeah, I would be gutted if he starts, to be honest with you. Absolutely gutted, mate. Curry says, until we get a defender that can cover both for left back and right back, as Tav, BB and Yilmaz are struggling, we do need perhaps that left-sided centre-back who can also play left back. Tav. Right, let's grasp the Tav nettle, shall we? Look, Curry hates Tav. I like Tav. Tav's someone who's done a lot for this club. He joined way back and has come through everything with us, hasn't he? And his goals have been great. Yes, a lot of penalties. Yes, a lot of free kicks. But look, and this may be sacrilege. Please tell me if I am being sacrilegious here. But he can't defend at the moment. His defense is absolutely shocking at the moment. And he was awful on Saturday. But it's not just pre-season. Take that semi-final against that lot, the Jota goal and the header. He completely lost him. He turned off. He fell asleep. And if that had been Borna, we'd have been ripping him to pieces. Tav is struggling defensively. Personally, I would look for a way to push Tav further up the field to give us width on the right. And I'd play Sterling as right back. He's a defender. He's an out-and-out defender. Tav is not. And that worries me. And he hasn't been great this pre-season. All pre-season, he's been pushed towards what we will come up against in Europe. Yeah, it's been a lot of European preparation, William. I think that's your spot on there. Beale leaving it this late to get defenders is poor, in my opinion. What's he waiting to see? How does it go? I think he was very much focused on trying to solve our goal scoring problems, Brian, and that's why we kind of left defence to the last minute. Tripster says, he is a right back, but he's also a left back. He can play both positions. He's a hybrid player. He can use both feet. He's very, very talented. CRS says, agreed, mate. We can't let up. This season is vital. We need to pit Rangers back in our rightful place in Scottish football, top of the league and being a dominant force again. Agreed. Curry says, yes, out and in-house. Even managed to get out of bed today for the first time. Great news, Curry. Great to have you back, buddy. And I want to have you on a podcast very soon, Curry. Let me know. Drop me a DM or a WhatsApp message. We need to put several goals past Killy to lay down a marker. Brilliant shout, John. We do. Glad to hear you on the men, Curry. Curry says, I was right about Tav there in LOL. You were, mate. I have to say that. Tripster says, if I was an opposition manager and throw diagonal balls in behind, I think we'll be found out. If Michael Beale can't say that, I'll take the manager's job. Write to James Bisgrove, Tripster. Would have Sterling all day and give Sutty the captaincy. Good shout, Curry. Suitor for captain, Sterling at right back. Beale likes Borna Barisic and no one knows why. Good shout. Alexander Cameron says, midfield need to cover for the fullbacks. If they're attacking outlet, we can have a case. We're attacking midfield, attacking fullbacks. That's suicide. Now, I think personally, European-wise, and in against that lot from across the city, and even to I suppose against Aberdeen and the two Edinburgh clubs, I think we need to use Jack. Jack for me is the shield. He sits in front of that back four. When one of the fullbacks goes forward, he drops it and covers. I think Jack is a key player in this. Keeping him fit is massive. But for me, Ryan Jack is absolutely critical to this system working this season. I think that using Ryan, having Ryan in is going to be absolutely critical. So for me, that's a really important one. Ryan Jack is going to be a key member of this team. Midfield need to cover for the fullbacks. If they're attacking outlet, we can have a case where we're attacking midfield. Attacking. That's read that comment. Sorry. CGM says Tav is in decline. He hasn't got the engine to get up and down like he used to. He will continue to get caught field by not pushing forward. Leave a short. True. And Tripster likes your point there. Good point there. Yeah, 100%. Jack is a key, I think, for this team, and Jack is going to be key in Europe. As Jack says, Jack is very important. He needs him to stay fit when possible. Jack, for me, is the player we need in Europe. We need against Celtic. We need against Aberdeen. We need against the two Edinburgh clubs. They're the games that we have to have Ryan Jack for. I ain't concerned about him playing against Ross County, St Johnstone, Dundee, because Dundee United aren't in the league anymore. I ain't worried about those teams. I'm worried about him covering against the other teams. That's where we need to use Jack. And I think if Jack is used sparingly this season, we've got more chance of keeping him fit and keeping him involved. I think Jack Butland's done well this pre-season as well. He's looked very solid at the back. I don't think he can be to blame for many of the goals. But yeah, definitely for me, Butland has done well. I've touched on Borna. I've touched on the fact that he's been poor. I just don't want to see him play again. Look, we've got a lot of attacking talent in this team, and Michael Beale needs to find out how he uses Danilo, Dessers, Roof, Lammers, Cantwell. How do we use all those 5 talented players? Seema 6. I think it's going to be a case of rotation, system is going to change, and it's going to be fluid. I think it's going to be a big answer on Saturday. I personally can't wait to see how we line up Saturday. Ryan is the linchpin in midfield as he covers for left back and right back. It's just how many games he can play, as Lunny has been the same way he started last season. Woeful. Cover your spot on. Lunny has been absolutely shocking for me. Jack Suter is unreliable. Can't play 4 games in a row. Possible, I suppose. Jack and Jose protect the defence. Jose Fuentes is more of a box-to-box, I suppose. That's the other one. In Hoffenheim, a guy walked past us with a C shirt on. We all booed and sang. Funny. Alexander Cameron says, Raskin can play 6 in the other games when we need pace up the game. Yeah, against St Johnstone, against the Ross Counties of this world. When you Livies, you don't really need to worry about defending too much. They're not going to attack us. They're going to sit with 10 behind the ball. That's what they always do. Suter is probably our best defender. Problem is he can't play 2 games in a week for half the season. I don't know, let's see how he goes this season in terms of getting over that fitness. Brian Sutty had an ongoing problem before he came here. I'm hoping that's sorted. He can get the run. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I hope Suter can get a run in the team now. Hopefully we've overcome those issues. This season we'll have quality coming off the bench. Jack won't play much if Cifuentes is the player we've been led to believe he is. Yeah, but like I said, I think Jack needs to be used in Europe. I think Jack needs to be used against that lot and against Aberdeen. In those games, you pick and choose Ryan Jack's games. That's what he's been kept for, hasn't he? Pre-season has been interesting, hasn't it? It's been an interesting one, hasn't it? It really has been a fascinating pre-season. And I think there's positives. Like I said, Lammers, Suter, Raskin, Dow, Butland, Sterling have all been positives for me this pre-season, how they've come in, how they've acquitted themselves. Negatives, the defence has been awful. Our fullbacks have not looked clever at all. And I think we do need to address that issue still through transfers. But I think it will be a case of selling before we buy now. I think there will be a case of trying to get rid of Kamara, get rid of Wright, and get rid of others. And the system and the shape. How do we line up against Kilmarnock? Now, I'm not going to talk too much about that in this podcast. Friday morning, 11 o'clock. I've got work late Friday night, so I can't do any later than that. So 11 o'clock on Friday, I'll be doing a preview pod. Please come and join me for that. But I'll be talking about the Killie game, talking about the start of the league season. I think the start of the league season is absolutely critical for me. Absolutely critical. Tripster says, Danilo is going to be something special. You watch the lad go. He's going to score some crackers. Let's hope so, Tripster. I think Danilo is a fabulous player. I think he really is going to impress. You look at his time at Ajax, Feyenoord, his loan spell at Twente, his assists and goals record are excellent. We'll be interested to see what happens when Davis comes back as well. True, very true, William. Sifu is not that type of player, though. CGM, he's a ball player. He's a box-to-box, isn't he? That's what he is. He's a box-to-box. Every midfielder we've had in the last 4 seasons has looked better when he played alongside Ryan Jack. He's an excellent player. Ryan Jack makes everyone better, doesn't he? I mean, Ryan Raskin looks better alongside Jack. Cantwell looks better alongside Jack. Jack, for me, has got to play and got to start. We'll all predict our lineups on Friday. Cool. Yeah, so we're going to do Friday. We are going to talk about lineups. We are going to talk about the league season upcoming. For definitely. Tripster says Jack's the man. It's just keeping him fit. Look, guys, it's been an exciting preseason. It's been an interesting preseason. Definitely going to be one to keep an eye on. I'm buzzing for the new season. Tonight's been more about me talking about your comments rather than me talking about my agenda. I think I've got through about one thing out of my 3 points that I wanted to get through tonight. Doesn't matter. I'll make it into a video. What about that boy Offerboard or something as well, or whatever his name is? I think the medical problem's ongoing, and then as long as the medical problem's ongoing, we're kind of stuck with him. I don't think there's a lot we can do, William. Stephen says, wife's giving me jip about watching too many pods. Doesn't believe this one live, brutal. Stephen Gillespie's wife. Hi, this is live. Look, here you go. Look, that's the time. Look, it's the time. There you go. It's all live. It's all live. Okay, guys, I'm going to call that a night tonight. I've got my kids here tonight. I think to look after my kids. Daniel, we're happy we got him and Dessers instead of Josh Madger. Let's see. I mean, I don't know where Josh Madger's going to end up next season. Let's see how he gets on wherever he's going to go. Last couple of comments. Ugly Mug will be returning soon enough. We'll scare the Waynes away from the telly. Lol. Obviously means Curry. Curry, you're welcome on Glasgow Rangers Nation anytime. Todd Cantwell said in an interview that Ryan Jack is the greatest competitor at the club. I agree with that. He is an absolute superstar, Blue Nose. Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you as always tonight. Thank you so much for everyone coming on tonight. Please smash that like for me. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please help us get that 3K subs sooner rather than later. Well, guys, as always, 2 things I need you to do for me. Number 1, smash the like. And number 2, please remember, we are the people.